Welcome back. This is Charles Knapp, and I'm making another video. This one is on Cleveland and the localization. And I have my trusty assistant, also known as my daughter, Stephanie Knapp, with me here today.
Hello.
And so we're going to go through this. I'll try to keep it short, but it always ends up being long or longer. But from Cleveland, all of this artwork for the painting and the speech the verses has been covered extensively online. We're not going to go through all of that today. We just want to get to the nuts and bolts of localization, maybe some clues that were missed, and let's get into it. Okay, if you've seen online, you've noticed that the cask was in the back of this wall at the Greek Cultural Gardens, and it was off to the right side, and we'll just look at that. And here's a little bit of the right side, and Andy Abrams and Brian Zinn were smart enough to get back there and start digging. But one thing they noticed, and we'll get to it. Here they are where they were digging, and you notice they're digging on the left side, which is, again, was Andy Abrams and Mr. Brian, I believe, Zinn. And you can see where they were digging is the incorrect side. That's where they started out in the back. And you notice it was a Cleveland Greek Cultural Center, which is important, and they had figured all that out. And they also had figured out beneath the 10th stone from right to left. That's why they were digging over there. They started counting on their right side and counted over to the left side and was digging over there. So, back of the book gives us localization clues, which I enjoy taking the screenshot of those who say that the back of the book has nothing to do with finding the cask. So we'll get into this one. This is Cleveland, again, localization. I'm going to start with Mira, Chimera on the wall, belladonna. And many people have figured out this is mirror image, and mirror image is what was needed for the Cleveland solve, which is entirely correct. First of all, let's look at Chimera as definitions, and you notice it's part of the definition is a fire-breathing she-monster in Greek mythology, and Greek mythology. Belladonna is basically from Atropos, the Greek goddess of fate, who cuts the thread of life. Again, Greek, and this was the Greek Cultural Gardens. Belladonna is Italian for beautiful woman. Moving on, if you went through and you marked some of the phrases in red, as I have, you would notice a lot of wording that will match up to something I'm about to show you. Real quickly, glimmering, glittering, glamorous can only be seen in a mirror, charm schools, beauty parlors, improvement in image. She whispers, magazine cover, movie poster, winged fairy, to whisper contradictory beauty hints, look even more absurd to each other than is natural, chop it off, passing of long white gloves, and importantly, when Bernice bobbed her hair and reflected. Also, notice up at the top, on the wall. The wall is that wall at the Cultural Gardens, right, Steph?
Yep.
So, remember, kind of keep those phrases in your mind as we go through this. And here's the artwork, and I contend that the cartoon or the artwork is what is localizing the clue, or localizing the cask. And here we see Mira Chimera pulling on the pantyhose, and you're trying to figure out what all of this means, if there is any meaning. People have suggested this was some sort of Morse code or some cipher or some kind of coding in here, and none of that really pans out to anything. But notice that the caption, it says, "How do I look from the back?" In other words, the back of the wall. And there's more on that. We'll cover that in a minute. But Bernice bobs her hair. 1920 short story by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and there's some nice artwork here, and we'll get a little bit more into that. But I wanted to point out, when I started this, my daughter laughs. I didn't know what bob your hair was. So I'm like, what the heck is that? So I had to do a little bit of finding out. Bob your hair was a popular one of the hairstyles in the 20s, and particularly the Roaring 20s. Mm-hmm. And I found this image online, an interesting Cleopatra Egyptian bob. I don't know, is that a specific one, or is just this something I found that was Egyptian bob?
I think this is just one you found.
Okay.
But people with longer hair know about a bob.
Okay. And so this gal here, the Sphinx, bobbed her hair, or the Egyptians did. And the Egyptians are important in this whole thing, but let's get back to the culture aspect. And Byron uses popular culture in these puzzles. So if you look back in 1976, there was a movie, Bernice Bobs Her Hair.
Based on the short story.
Based on the short story. And as a youngster, these stories kind of bored me by F. Scott Fitzgerald, but somebody, now it's kind of interesting because I'm finding some things out. Anyway, here's the main character, and she ends up getting her hair bobbed. But you notice in this image, this is a screenshot out of the movie, there's a mirror right here, and there's a mirror right here. And they're looking into this mirror, and so kind of fits into the whole mirror theme of another fair folk in the back of the book, the evil Necromancers. Notice the 1920s garb. Notice the
flapper.
And the fangs on the teeth, the teeth with fangs. So a flapper, exactly. Thanks. So we'll flip to the next one. Here they are, and you can see the long white gloves. Remember the wording? Long white gloves.
Yep. On Shelley Duvall, famous actress.
Duvall, yep. And they're discussing guys and what they need to do at the party and this and that. And as this progresses, you'll find out that Shelley is the boring gal, and she meets up with Marjorie, I believe it is, who is the exotic gal that gets the boys, and the boys are all attentive to her, but not Shelley. And Shelley will change through this play because she wants some attention from the boys. She don't want to be boring all her life anyway. Mm-hmm. So, and here she is. She starts interacting with the guys. She comes out, again, the long white gloves. And here she is after she bobbed her hair. She kind of regrets it, if you can see it on her face. But her hair's a lot shorter. Again, here's the mirror. So moving along. Now, it's very interesting. The story by F. Scott Fitzgerald, he used the name Bernice because that's a direct reference to Bernice II of Egypt, and Bernice II is a Greek god. So anyway, there was in the legend, Bernice sacrifices her hair to Aphrodite. So you can read more about that. But again, we're talking about a Greek queen. She was ruler of Egypt. So you see the whole Greek thing comes into play as well. Mm-hmm. Greek cultural gardens.
Yeah. And
there, if you want dig in deep, look at the Greek rulers or Greek rule of Egypt and the influence that they had, and you can find that in the art. In fact, found this image here. What would you call that, Steph? That's kind of an interesting image, but I thought this kind of matched up a little bit with our Mira Chimera.
Yep, definitely. The wings and the body, very similar.
So anyway, so I thought, okay. So back to the whole Brian and Andy, they were here and they were going to dig right in here. Well, it's kind of a large area to dig in. Quite frankly, it would have taken them a long time. Fortunately for them and for us, they did find that there was a wedding party there, getting ready to do some,
Lucky.
I don't know, some pictures or something, have a wedding, I don't know. And so they couldn't do anything in front of the monument. So that's when they went around to the back side. And the rest is history. So getting back, and you can see there's linkages here throughout Mira Chimera.
Yep.
And so we're going to just move along. The movie, back to the movie. Again, Byron and the artist have used things out of culture. And you can see the hood ornament right here on this Rolls Royce.
Yep.
What does that look like, Steph?
Mira Chimera.
It sure does. And if we look at it from the side, this is a 76, and you can kind of see the whole posture and the wings, and there's something going on here. So that's, I think, where the artist or Byron got the idea to use that as a in art.
Yep.
And there she is. And you'll notice right here the spots on the wings. No spots on the wings here. And these wings are almost a mirror image of the ones below. You can kind of think of it, or a dichotomy or two-part. These are the boring wings, and these are the exciting wings. Kind of like the movie, possibly.
Uh-huh.
And there's some other things going on here. The more exciting gal here. And then over here you see all of these, which we were going to talk about and we're going to cover. And look what that was in the movie. This is a pillow. And what is this here?
That's the lace trim, but it looks very familiar.
The lace trim. And I believe that matches up with the bottom of the dress or whatever, skirt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those spots are a clue that there's a lot of spots.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there was to all those little dots, I think, is spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we go to evil necromancers, which we've already alluded to, the mirrors, the fangs, the 20s garb, and you do the same thing here. You go through the words. Domestic strife in the kitchen, during house parties, dark corners, and it says females, vampire, or vampires, or whatever. In the movie, 3 times, vamps or vampires is mentioned 3 times in there. So, and there's some more. You just read through this stuff and you look for your matches. Right here, it says boring 20s. Well, that's wordplay for roaring 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And vamps. Here's the word vamps. So you see this kind of sticks. And at the bottom, this is very important. And we'll cover that just in a few minutes. And also, you don't spot a necromancer. A necromancer spots you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like confusing, but if you start thinking about it, looking at it, the necromancer puts the spots on you or makes spots on you.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Does that make sense? Am I saying that right, Steph?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and here's a direct quote. Shelley says, "I want to be a society vampire."
Mm-hmm.
And that's right out of the movie, right into the book. Okay, so this has confused me from the first time I think, or the second time I saw this kind of artwork. Like, why is there a dot right there?
Yeah.
What would you call that dot? A spot. A spot. So is there a reason for that being there, or is it an artifact?
Oh.
So, and if you read through the wording on Necromancer, you'll find it talks about for the future bliss of America's Tootsies, most servicemen accepted their Tootsies, honest explanation for these evil artifacts. I just don't know how that got there. Okay, so some more double meaning here. Tootsie has 2 meanings. Mm-hmm. One is a child's word for a person's foot, and the other one is a young woman that is perceived as being available for dating and such. So Byron's using both meanings here. So it's the Tootsie, and there's the spot. Now, why is that important? Or is it? Okay, here's my take on it. That's the right foot.
Yep.
There's the spot. He's telling us to dig your hole on the right side.
Yep.
The Mira Chimera is making a hole in the stocking.
Yep.
And asking, how do I look from the back? If you look from the back, it's on the right side.
Yep.
Think about looking from the back side here. That's the Cleveland localization clues that would have really helped out. I don't know if it's going to show up here. Oh, I got that T is covering. There's a spot right there. Might find it on another drawing. Let's see here. So, let's see. I don't see it. But there is a spot on the leg also. The other thing, as we talked about before, you don't spot Mira Chimera.
Right.
She spots you. In other words, she's creating the spots.
On you.
You see? Does it make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so moving along. So we saw you can see where I think that spot's important, telling you it's the right side or right foot. And if you even get closer, if you look at the bottom, the spotter's tip hand, you can see the outline right here at the base.
Yep.
That explains why the shading isn't all solid along here the same. Why is it different? Why would you just make part of it different? It's pointing down there, down at the end of the rectangular box they were digging in.
Yep.
That's your spot. Okay, so summary, we covered the dots here at the bottom of the skirt and all of this. Now, again, Necromancer spots you. She's putting the spots on you.
Okay.
Okay, so just a couple other things I wanted to put in here was the artwork from the 20s, and this was interesting. They both have red faces, and they have a Ouija board there. Ouija board back in the 20s was probably considered evil.
Definitely.
Like evil necromancer. But I don't know. This is just some things I was thinking about. And, anyway, I'm not going to go too much into that. I just wanted to leave you with this on the end because it was in the movie 3 times. It was a lot of fun. The movie you can get on YouTube. It's short. I think 40-some minutes or something like it. Just like it's a short story. Short. Yeah. So, anyway, that's it. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. And we wouldn't be doing it if Stephanie hadn't figured out all this technical stuff. How to put all this stuff together. And it's been fun. Have a nice day.
All right.